Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. Still congested, still trying to get over that a little bit. It's still kind of early. I finished this book pretty early. I started reading it yesterday. I cannot tell you how addicted I was to this book. I read half of it yesterday before I went to work, and I kept thinking about it all day and how excited I was for today when I got to finish it. This one is a Series 2000 book. I decided I would take a break from Give Yourself Goosebumps just for a couple of books. Read something else next week, pick up on the GYG, final 2 books, and then I'm going to rank everything, the covers, the worst to best for those actual books and how entertaining I think they are, ranking the stories, whatever. I'll have a lot of content coming up next week is what I'm trying to tell you. But anyway, I wanted to take a small break. I'm going to read a couple of Series 2000 books, maybe a TV book too. I haven't really decided on that yet. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But for right now, I thought I would read a couple of Series 2000 books because I miss reading these more often. I've read some kind of recently in the last month or two, but I haven't read a lot of them. In total, I've read quite a few of them. I only have about 6 or 7 of these books left. And I'll tell you, I typically am impressed with Series 2000 as the follow-up to the Classic series, to the GYG series, because of how dark they can get, because of how they typically stay in a very dark place, and I myself have a very gothic heart. I love that kind of thing, and I say that with my orange shirt on. Anyway, here we are talking about Goosebumps Series 2000, number 18, a book I've wanted to read for a long time, Horrors of the Black Ring. This is an Indian copy, and when I say that, it's because of the fact that the cover is as stiff as cardboard. It is not your basic Goosebumps cover, and it's very pale too, as you can tell. There's not really any kind of like indentations or anything on the actual Goosebumps logo. I love this cover. Look at the details on this, dude. This is a Tim Jacobus cover, and it's so beautiful. As you can tell, the story focuses on a black ring. This book is only about 108 pages. It flies by. And to me, like I said, it was very addictive. I absolutely loved this book. It's not like amazing or anything in total context of the book, but I absolutely loved my time with it. I thought it was a super great book for the most part. I have my nitpicks here and there. Some about the logic of the ring in the finale, but most of the time I had a phenomenal time. I thought it was really adventurous, really fun, and really, really dark. There's a lot of just mean-spiritedness to some parts of this book, and I don't really know how else to explain it. Excuse me. Let's really start into the story now. We have a young woman who basically her dad is off on a business trip or whatever. It's just kind of her mom, and her little sister right now. Her name is Beth. The little sister's name is Amanda. And this particular girl, Beth, is on a kind of a council board thing to really develop kind of a school carnival, if you will. It's going to have like a bake sale going on and like ride type stuff. Not really rides per se, but like a dunking tank where you like throw the ball into a target and a guy gets dropped off of like a diving board into a big tank of water. There's a lot of stuff at this particular carnival thing for the school that will be like that. But she's on the board of being in charge of that alongside her crush, and a lot of this book is focused on the carnival aspect until about 70% of the way through. And then it kind of turns into like a Carrie type of thing. Yeah, like the Stephen King Carrie, which is pretty wild. I like that being a reference in here. Not directly, but kind of a reference, the way it feels. The texture of the moment, if you will. Anyway, there was a teacher at their school named Miss Gold who happened to find a ring out in the parking lot of this school. And it's a black ring with a black jewel on it. And if you just kind of turn it just the right way, the way the light hits this thing seems to have a face inside of the flaw of the actual diamond, or jewel, or whatever it is. That concept, in my opinion, feels very Twilight Zone. I love that. But the execution of the story, not only being so dark, but kind of everything surrounding it, what the ring does to people when they put it on, they can't take it off. As you can tell with that small detail, it feels like a haunted mask story. Now in Series 2000, we didn't have a haunted mask story. If Series 2000 hadn't happened back in the day with Scholastic, we were going to have an R.L. Stine Goosebumps series called Goosebumps Gold that was going to have a haunted mask story. Apparently Stine never actually wrote that book, from what I understand. I don't really believe him, because he's a mastermind of how fast he works most of the time, but that's what he says. Anyway, We didn't have any haunted mask stories back in the day. This is very similar to that. If you're like myself and a massive fan of haunted mask, which I think a lot of Goosebumps fans are, this is going to be up your alley. I really think this is a really intense read, kind of a crazy, hectic read. The idea of the ring making people do bad things, really interesting concept. I really love that. Again, it feels very Twilight Zone to me, very much like Haunted Mask feels like that too. I can only imagine what Rod Serling would have done with this storyline if he had come up with it. It's pretty cool. I don't have a whole lot of details to tell you because the book is so short, but I will tell you this. About 50 pages of this book have almost nothing at all to do with the actual ring. Almost all of that's focused on the carnival and trying to understand why somebody's trying to sabotage the carnival and what's going on there. You have kind of a mystery type of thing going on, kind of a whodunit type of thing, in a weird way without a murder, which is kind of cool. I've never really seen much of that in Goosebumps, and when I do, it kind of surprises me. It takes me by a little bit of a surprise every single time. This is very well written for what it is, and again, being very dark, it really stands out, even amongst the very dark Series 2000 books for me. I rate this one pretty high, man. I put it up pretty high in my listing of Series 2000 books and like my top 3, top 4 books. This is really high up there. I love it. It's one of those books like Bride of the Living Dummy, or I'm trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head that I love as well. It's up there with like Are You Afraid Yet? And that kind of thing. This is a really, really good read, and I really recommend it for people who haven't checked this out yet. I don't really see people discuss this one very often, and when I do, it seems like it's kind of a well-received book. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, it's been a long time since I've watched a review for this book, but I don't see people talk about it often. Maybe it's because it's like a Haunted Mask knockoff, if people want to call it that. I really think that's an insult to how good this book is, but if you consider it to be that, I'd love to hear that down in the comment section down below. That might have something to do with the reputation of this book and why people don't really talk about it, but for me, this is one of those ones like Bride of the Living Dummy, like The Haunted Car, even though I haven't read The Haunted Car, that this should be in modern day reissue, in my opinion, because it's really solid, and I really like what happened here with this book. It's very, very good. Anyway, I don't really have much more to say about it. I love the concept. I loved Beth. Her little sister Amanda is very annoying, always whining about everything in the book, but Beth is cool. I like her. I like her crush, Danny. He's pretty cool too. I like pretty much everything about the book. I really don't have many complaints about it, except for the logic of the ring in the finale. It really kind of just lost me a little bit. But overall, I really love it. I think it's a great read. I really highly recommend The Horrors of the Black Ring, in case you haven't read it before. Really good one. Try to catch a real copy, not an Indian copy like I fell for. This was a great read. I recommend this so much to you guys if you haven't read it before. Anyway, have you read Horrors of the Black Ring? Once again, please put it down in the comment section down below, whether you love the book, whether you hate the book. I'd love to hear all of that from you guys. Please check this one out. It is such an underrated read. Can I complain about one thing really quick with this Indian copy? These edges are sticking out so far on the actual, like, book. Like, I don't know if you can see, like, over here where the edging is sticking out so far. You could easily cut the webbing of your finger or your hand on this, dude. Oh my lord, it seems really dangerous. You gotta be careful when you're holding this copy. Anyway, Horrors of the Black Ring. If I had to rate this book on a 5-star basis, I think I would give it about a 4 out of 5. I have my issues. I almost gave it a 5 out of 5 until I got to the end, the last couple of chapters. But 4 out of 5 stars. Very high 4, almost a 5. That should tell you exactly how I feel about this one and how much enjoyment I had out of this. This was a great freaking read, and I hope you guys will check it out on my recommendation. Really good one. Anyway, have you read this book? Do you love it? Put your thoughts and comments down below once again. Do you put it in like your top 3 or 5 of Series 2000? I'd love to hear that too. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. God bless you all, and goodbye.